Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy March. It is finally it. The championship match here tonight in the first competition of Season 2, the Chaos Cup Finals tonight. It will be Knee-High to Nuffle versus a Reptile Dysfunkshun. Clypheus versus Nick Satan, Chaos Dwarves, versus Lizardmen again. Let's take a look at the bracket. In the semifinals, we saw a Reptile Dysfunkshun defeat Tracksuit Mafia. Tracksuit Mafia, coached by Merrick, the reigning Chaos Cup champion. A Reptile Dysfunkshun came out ahead 2-1. And then just a few nights ago, we saw Knee-High to Nuffle versus Pips Pippy Fan Club in a nail-biter. After overtime, the game ended up in penalty kicks. Knee-High to Nuffle came out ahead 2-1. They will be up against a Lizardman team yet again. PPFC, of course, also a Lizardman team. And I have it, man, there is so much strength on these two rosters. First up, we'll take a look at Knee-High to Nuffle, Clypheus' team. You can see right here, it's giving away the secret. He picked up a Minotaur. Look at him clipping through the banner. That's how you know how much of a beast he is. He's just like, you know what? I've got spikes coming out of my chest. 11-man roster for Clypheus. He has an injured Hobgoblin, picked up that Minotaur instead. The big guy, he has Frenzy, Horns, and Mighty Blow, and you can expect he wants to use that player tonight. 11-man roster, otherwise 2 Bull Centaurs, of course. Blasphemy still rocking that injury. He'll get a +1 to all injury rolls. Otherwise, we've got the Chaos Dwarf blockers, 2 now, picking up the guard skill. An excellent skill to pick up on these Chaos Dwarves. They want to be grouped up. They want to give those assists. Briar Rose leveled up with Dauntless. You can see here Clypheus playing the strategic game. He went up against PPFC in the semifinals, and now he says, you know what? I'm up against a lot of strength. 37 points of strength on both of these teams. He says, I need to get a strength advantage. I'm going to pick up a Minotaur with a strength of 5. I've got that Horns and Mighty Blow Frenzy block, or Frenzy Blitz, but I'm also going to pick up Dauntless with Briar Rose here. Picking up Dauntless means he gets to roll a die, add it to a strength. If it's greater than or equal to his opponent's strength, then his strength now equals his opponent's strength, and all he needs is 1 assist to get that 2-die block. Pretty smart pickup, I have to say. He's looking to try to... He kitted out this lineup specifically for this championship match. He's got 3 TRRs, 1 Apothecary, 6 Fan Factor, and he'll be up against Nick Satan, the reigning league champion. He'll coach a Reptile Dysfunkshun, also coming in with an 11-man roster. He's got Pickles the Crocs. He started this competition with just 4 Sauruses. He eventually picked up the other 2. He's got a full 6 now, and 2 of them are leveled up. David Attenborough, he leveled up, picked up the guard skill, and Delton has both block and Mighty Blow. He's got 4 skinks on the roster. Meatwad of New Jersey, the notorious sneaky git. You can imagine Nick Satan is going to want to leverage him and get as many fouls as he can get off in this game. Duncan of Idaho is now a level 3 skink. Skinks come with stunty and dodge. He picked up sidestep on his level 2, and he rolled doubles. Look at this, to pick up sure feet. This is a running skink. He is going to be a threat, the guaranteed ball carrier for this roster, if he can at all help it. 1 cheerleader, 2 TRRs, as opposed to Knee-High to Nuffle's 3 rerolls, 1 Apothecary, 6 Fan Factor, 1 coach assistant. Nick Satan definitely coming in with the advantage on the assistant roster here, but is down 1 TRR. That's a big difference. The difference between 3 and 4 TRRs, pretty significant. He's going to have to manage his TRRs pretty well. How the 2 teams going to play against each other? I think Knee-High to Nuffle, I think he has to play the exact same game he had to play in the semifinals. He's going to have to hunt those skinks. If he can take those skinks off the pitch, he can get the player advantage. Once he has the player advantage, he's in pretty good shape. I think it's just as simple as that. But for Nick Satan, it is not so simple. You can see that Knee-High to Nuffle has decided to, again, he kitted out this roster for this game specifically. He's got the Minotaur with the strength of 5. He's got the Dauntless on the Chaos Dwarf blocker. This is really, really tough for a Reptile Dysfunkshin to go hunting for players. Of course, naturally, he can hunt for the 2 Hobgoblins. They have an AV of 7. If you can take them off the pitch, all the better. But there's only 2 of them. So you have to imagine Knee-High is not going to just throw them out there to get blocked down. I think Nick Satan needs to find a way to harass these Bull Centaurs, whether that means getting the 2-die block on one or whether that means locking them down. These are pivotal players on this roster. If he can just take them out of a drive one way or another, either knocking them down or locking them down, I think he stands a good chance tonight. He has to be careful, though. It's got to be a chess match in this game because Knee-High is not low on strength. Again, he's got Dauntless, he's got the Minotaur, he's got the 2 Bull Centaurs. He can hold his own against this Lizardman team. Now, of course, a Reptile Dysfunkshin has those 6 skinks. They all have a strength of 4. That's a lot of strength. But again, both teams have exactly the same sum of strength, 37 apiece. And I think it's going to come down to chess. It's going to come down to positioning players. Knee-High to Nuffle has to go after those skinks, and he will. Nick Satan has to find a way to shut down those Bull Centaurs. If he can get a player advantage on the Hobgoblins, all the better. But both players are going to try to avoid getting locked down in ways that pull them out of position, in ways that prevent them from doing those things. We've seen Clypheus play very strong field control in the past. I have to imagine he's going to try it here again. Nick Satan, we've seen him play very aggressively in the past. Not as aggressively as PPFC, but he certainly can. Both these coaches play their Lizardman teams a little differently. Both are perfectly valid. You have a Lizardman team, you want to bash. That's what you do. Nick Satan has played, he'll play a little aggressive in the beginning, and if it doesn't work out, he'll pull back and try to play for field control. But I think in this game, he's going to have to try for field control right out of the gate. The Bull Centaurs, the Hobgoblins, the Skinks, those are the players to look for tonight. Whoever can control and dominate the other player in that regard, I think they win this one. Whoever wins tonight is going to advance to the Blood Bowl in the upper bracket. Both teams have already secured a spot in the Blood Bowl. The loser tonight will advance in the lower bracket. And then we've got 2 more open competitions this season coming up. But tonight, we're going to crown a new Chaos Cup champion. We'll see if the teams or if the coaches are ready to go. And if they are, we'll get this championship game underway. Both coaches are in Discord. So I didn't even talk about the TV differential. There's 180 TV diff between Knee-High to Nuffle and a Reptile Dysfunkshin. 180K? That is a wizard and then some. Could this be the first game of the season where we see a wizard? That's a lot of money. Nick Satan can spend that in a whole lot of ways. He can pick up Bloodwiser Babes. He can pick up that important 3rd TRR for 100K. He might even be able to get a star player. He has 60K in the bank. Who's to say? SPV says he will get a bribe. He can get a bribe. Absolutely. He does have the sneaky get. If he gets a bribe, he makes it all the safer. He has lots of options in the inducement phase. Oh man, I wish I could see what's happening in the inducement phase. 150K gets you a wizard, 100K would get a bribe, 100K can get extra team training that gives you another team reroll. He can get the Bloodwiser Babes, they're 50K a pop. He might have some star players available. Both coaches report they're in the inducement phase at the moment. Once they're done, we'll be able to hop into their game and see what's happening. MAML seasons are broken up into 4 competitions. There are 3 open competitions and 1 invitational. The invitational is the Blood Bowl. That's the big game that crowns the league champion. The winners of the 3 open competitions, the Chaos Cup, the Spike Magazine Trophy, and the Dungeon Bowl, will all advance in the upper bracket to the Blood Bowl, and at least one player will advance in the lower bracket. The lower bracket is all the runners up. They will face off against each other, the winner of which will then advance to the upper bracket to play the 3 winners of the season. And it looks like a Reptile Dysfunkshun picked up a star player. They picked up Helmet. So you can see here, he has a secret weapon. A Reptile Dysfunkshun will be on defense. Picked up a bribe as well. He has the fame advantage. It was 6 fan factor apiece going into the game. He won the fame. He has a +1 fame. Both teams with Apothecary, of course. So if we look at Helmet, he's a secret weapon. He has the chainsaw. That is just a straight armor roll on to break armor. I'm sorry, that's a straight D6 to break armor. However, on a 1, it kicks back and hits him in the face. So we'll see what happens. Being a secret weapon, if he's going to be on the pitch to start the game, he's only going to be on the pitch for 1 drive unless the bribe is used, and then he can keep the player on the pitch for another drive. Secret weapons can only be on the pitch for a drive before the ref finally takes notice and says, hey, is that a chainsaw in your hand? No, you can't do that. 4-man line, off-center line here for the defense. 2 Sarses in the left wide zone, 1 in the right, along with the number 12 Skink. 2 Skinks in a linebacker position as well. Pretty aggressive defense here for a Reptile Dysfunkshun. Leave to Rouse. Praise to Nuffle. These 2 teams are gonna need it. SPB recalls it. He took a bribe, indeed. 1 bribe, 1 star player. Pretty aggressive offensive line for Knee High here as well. He's going to try to block down the line. We saw this in the semifinals. It worked fairly well. We'll see if it works here again. Three-man line currently for Knee High to Nuffle. He's got 3 wide to the left. Knee High to Nuffle will be receiving. In the semifinals, he exclusively received with the Bull Centaur. We'll see if he holds back a Hobgoblin to receive this time. He does have one with sure hands. Retro Ian says, let's see some chainsaw love. I think that's a pretty smart pickup by Nick Satan. He saw all that strength on the roster and he said, I am just going to chainsaw your players in half. Yeah, Knee High to Nuffle going aggressive on this offensive line again. He's got a 7-man offset line. Eight-man line for Knee High to Nuffle. 9-man line for Knee High to Nuffle. Let's go. So he's going to receive with the 2 Hobgoblins instead. Nick Satan does not have a kicker. He'll probably kick to the opposite side of the sure hands Hobgoblin. Here we go. Cheering fans. Reptile Dysfunkshun gets an extra TRR. 3 apiece to start this championship match. Turn 1. Ball ends up on the side of the favored receiver, Robin Roundcap. 2-die block of the line. Gets a pal to start this game off. Well done. There's that Dauntless going to work. It's the 2-die block on the Sars in the left wide zone. This will work. Oh, wow. The second block of the game is an injury. Reptile Dysfunkshun might be thinking about spending the Apothecary. He does not. 1-man player advantage now to Knee High to Nuffle. And there it is. Well done. Two blocks left to take on the line. Has a 1-die skill block against the Saurus at the moment. Took the 2-die block on the number 4 Saurus or on the right side of the line. Sorry, a 1-die skill block against the Crocs. Well, now it's 2 dice. Oh, no, he took it with the Bull Centaur. He can move number 7. He can move Cantankerous. Oh, no, he can't because of the star player, because of Helmet. He might be content with just not taking that block on the Crocs. Reptile Dysfunkshun hasn't even had an opportunity to play, and they are down as Saurus. Failed the wild animal roll with the Minotaur. He will stay put. SP Beaver says it's a skilled 1 die, take it. Is it? I don't think so. Number 4 Castor blocker Jubilant moves forward to mark the number 8 Saurus Pancakes in the left wide zone. 18 seconds to go. There's the ball pickup. Well done. Moves the ball forward to the 10-yard line. Moves the number 11 Hobgoblin Dobby off to the right. SP Beaver says the Crocs have 5 strength or 6. It's 5. He's got a 1 die block right now if he wants to take it. He's going to take it. Gets the POW. Well done. Yes, there. Yes, indeed. He blocked down that entire line with that 9-man line. And now turn 1 for Reptile Dysfunkshun. Are they going to stand back up and mark? I don't think so. Where does he want to take his blitz? He has the chainsaw to foul with as well. He has both foulers on the pitch, interestingly enough. I would have thought maybe Meatwad would have been replaced by whoever's on the sideline. No, that's his runner. He's going to save his runner for offense. Moves the skink all the way from the right wide zone to the left. Decides to mark. He moves a Saurus and the Crocs forward, back on the line. Here comes the blitz. 2 die blitz, gets a POW on number 4. Still has movement with the blitzer if he wants to take it. Nope. It's going to take a 2 die block on the remaining Chaos Dwarf blocker in the left wide zone. Gets a POW. Decides to follow up. He wants to keep that dwarf marked. Spent the blitz. Can't use helmet. Shuffles a skink over to the left wide zone. Shuffles another skink to the left wide zone. Wow, for the foul. Gets a stun. He's going to have to spend the bribe here. Got called off on the very first foul. When you foul, it's a straight armor roll. You get an assist. You get assists. So in this case, he had 2. If you roll doubles on the armor roll or the injury roll, you get called off the pitch. The ref will have spotted you. However, you can use a bribe. To use a bribe, you spend a bribe that you have in pocket. Roll a d6. So long as it is not a 1, the ref will accept your bribe and you'll stay on the pitch. But now, his secret weapon is only going to be out here for a single drive. Turn 2 now for Knee-High and Nuffle. Both down result works out due to the block skill. Yeah, SP Beaver says that means the secret weapon only has 1 drive. I thought he was saving it for that. Yes, indeed. That's what I thought as well. Takes 2 die block on the big guy, gets a POW. Oh, do you think he might blitz down the star player? A little over a minute to go now for knee-high to Nuffle in turn 2. Clypheus really considering his options here. I think he's thinking about his blitz and where he wants to take it. He does have the Minotaur. The Minotaur has Frenzy. Yeah, he's going to blitz the star player. 2-die blitz only gets a push. Yeah, Helmet has stand firm. He doesn't have to go anywhere. So now that Bull Centaur, he's stuck. He has movement left over, but with an AG of 2, he can't dodge. Marks Krista, the number 6 Saurus in the right wide zone. Shifts the ball over toward the right side of the pitch. Wow, look at that Hobgoblin staring down this Saurus. He knows what's up. Marks the number 7 Saurus over on the left side of the line. And now turn 2 back to a Reptile Dysfunkshun. Tried using the chainsaw against the Bull Centaur. Couldn't break the armor. What armor? What armor's on that guy? Here comes the blitz with the Crocs. Gets a push on the Bull Centaur. SB Beaver says, is he forgetting that lizards can now dodge 100% of the time? Takes that 2-die block against number 9. That block was given to him. He's going to get a POW here. Looking to even it up on the pitch. Not going to happen this time. 2-die block on the left side of the line. Doesn't follow up. Nick Satan not falling for the tactics of Clypheus. Clypheus very good at pulling players out of position to goading players out of position. And Nick Satan is keeping his line intact. He's keeping the spacing intact. Decided not to follow up there. Good job. 2 dice had to spend a TRR on the double skulls. This will be a push. Has the Skinks left to move. I imagine he has 1 Saurus as well. Takes another foul. Only gets a stun, but does not get called off. The Saurus will probably stay put and will probably not take a block, I have to imagine. He could take a 1-die block if he wants to bring in a Skink for an assist. It's a 1-die skilled block. It might work, but these Minotaur, well, AV of 8. Oh, he's going to take it. He's going to take the 2-die block on the Minotaur. That'll work. Gets the POW. He has Mighty Blow. He gets a +1 on his armor roll. If it doesn't need it for the armor roll, he'll get it on the injury roll. Didn't break armor at all. Didn't come close. As people said, I thought the Doors had an AV of 9, had a 9 break armor on the foul. He had 2 assists. The 2 assists will basically, they effectively bring the AV value down, or each assist will bring down the AV value by 1. Turn 3 to knee-high to Nuffle. Two-die block on the number 6 Saurus in the right wide zone. It's a POW. SP Beaver says, sorry, it was an 8. I forgot about the assist there. That's all right. I forget about everything, especially when I'm playing. Knee High has half a cage at the moment, but it's marked, so it's not ideal. He's going to move that Hobgoblin down to the opposing 8-yard line. Moves the other Hobgoblin to protect. That almost certainly means Knee High is going to move the left side of the line forward. He wants to mark the Sauruses. Two-die block gets a pal number 4. Another injury. Oh, no. What? 2-man player advantage. Oh, the Apothecary gets spent. David Attenborough will stay in this game, but he's off the pitch. 2-man player advantage. Knee High to Nuffle. Nick Satan already out of everything except his TRRs. Lost his bribe, lost his Apothecary. SP Beaver says, what is his secret for the injuries? I think he's juicing. I think he's juicing. Retro Ian says that Hobgoblin looks like a tasty chainsaw target. If he can get there, yeah. Two-die blitz with the Bull Centaur against the big guy. Remember, that Bull Centaur is level 2, picked up block, so that both down result works out well. Only GFIs left for the Bull Centaur. Will he move? SP Beaver says, I wish all the players could sample that chainsaw. He might be thinking about a GFI here on the star player. It's risky. You wanna risk your injured Bull Centaur to protect your ball carrier? How much is a championship worth? Still has the Minotaur in the left wide zone prone. That'll be it. Turn 3 back to a Reptile Dysfunction. Can he get there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It would have to be 2 GFIs to get there safely. Moves 1 skink into position against this Hobgoblin to play some defense. Didn't move the lineup over here. I'm surprised he didn't lock down these Sauruses. The Sauruses are not slow. They each have an MA of 6. Oh, wow. 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 Decided to get into the tackle zone anyway. Well done. I approve. Ball scatters to the right sideline. Two-die block over in no man's land in the left wide zone. Gets a POW. Three free players to move over to this ball now. Plenty of time to consider what your strategy is going to be. Moves a skink over. This is a pretty good move over here, man. Wow, it's gonna take another foul. This time on the Minotaur. Gets a stun out of it. Does not get called off. It's a pretty decent stun. Turn 4 back to Knee High to Nuffle. So he decided to move the star player into a tackle zone, but he said, I'm okay with that because then I will mark the Hobgoblin number 11 with my Saurus. Man, that... I don't know, man. I don't like having Sauruses tied up, but, you know, it avoided the GFI, so... And I'm not a champion, so... Gets the assist for the 2-die block on the number 6 Saurus Krista This is with the number 2 Bull Centaur. Well done. Three dwarves to go and potentially a hobgoblin. Advances Cantankerous to the left or to the right sideline, gets a tackle zone on the ball. The dwarves only have an MA of 4. Shifts over to the left. I think it's a smart move. He'll get an assist on number 7. But more importantly, he only gets a push out of it. But more importantly, he knows these dwarves are really, really slow. He knows these skinks are really, really fast. And most of his dwarven players were over in the right wide zone. A Reptile Dysfunkshun could very easily just shift this ball back to the left. So he decided to get his players into position at mid-pitch. Got a block out of it as well. Tried to dodge the Hobgoblin. He's not going to spend the TRR. Tripped up by a chainsaw. Final turn of the first quarter. A Reptile Dysfunkshun now. They could try to set up for a surf if they want. I don't know if that's the best use of players. SB Beaver says he could surf the dwarf. Yeah, he could. I don't know if that's the best use of his players, though. But maybe. I mean, he is down 2 players on the pitch at the moment. If he wants to score, maybe that's the play. Moves number 7, Delton. Wow, moves Delton into everybody's tackle zone. Delton's not afraid. He says, come at me. Oh no. Pickles fails the boneheaded roll. Pickles will be out until she passes a boneheaded roll later in the game. Not exerting any tackle zones either. That is crucially important. Blitz with the Crocs. He's going to take it on the dwarf. He's going to push the dwarf onto the ball, oddly enough. Where's the ball going to come back onto the pitch? Whoa! Oh, boy. Maybe a block on number 6 and then a skink dodge? Is that the play? Ties up the Bull Centaur with the remaining movement of the blitzing Saurus. There's one skink. SB said, where'd the skink come from? He was like back here. MA 100 or something. Yeah, they have an MA of 8. They're fast. Oh no! Failed the dodge over in the right. He's going to spend the TRR over in the right wide zone. Snake Eyes. Could have taken a 2-die block over here to then dodge this skink. I guess it doesn't matter if you roll Snake Eyes, but yeah, that means a 2-die block coming back on the skink. Thankfully, it's only a push. Second quarter begins here. Now a 2-die block against Meatwad. This will be a hit. Oh no, and Meatwad is injured. The Apothecary's been spent. He'll miss next game with a broken jaw. 3-man player advantage for Knee-High to Nuffle. Unfortunate failed dodge in the right wide zone that left Meatwad vulnerable over on the left. Knee-high to Nuffle can absolutely block down the Saurus. Start moving. Oh! Failed GFI with the Chaos Dwarf. Succeeds on the reroll. Knee-high to Nuffle spends their first reroll. They're down to 2. Retro Ian says 11 to 8. Yes, indeed. 8 players left for a Reptile Dysfunkshun on the pitch. Reptile Dysfunkshun needs to be careful about dodging out these skinks. These dwarves have tackle. Tackle negates the block skill. First, he's going to have to get through a 3-die block. That's not going to do it. Gets the POW. 8+ breaks armor. Broke armor for a stun. Well done. I was going to say I don't think he wants to try to pick up that ball, but he tried, and that'll be a turnover. Fair enough. Reptile Dysfunkshun now, turn 5. Blitz right out of the gate. 2-die blitz. He has to spend a TRR to keep the drive alive. And it's a loner roll. He failed it. That is the end of the turn for a Reptile Dysfunkshun. Oh, no. Big guys typically have a... Well, all big guys have some sort of negative trait, and often loner. So Pickles here is a loner. That means if they want to spend a reroll, they have to roll a d6 first. On a 4+, they're allowed to spend the team reroll. Otherwise, they're not allowed to spend it, and you still spend the reroll. Both standing result against number 7, but there's still blocks coming back against number 7 here. Two-die block with the Minotaur. This one will be a POW against Pancakes. Second 2-die block against number 7. He'll get a push. He'll follow up. And he gets another 2-die block on number 7. This will be yet another push. He'll push him probably to the left. You see Clypheus do this a lot. He's trying to pull these players out of position. Well done. And you can see how effective pulling those 2 Chaos Dwarves over when he could was. They're now in this drive. Stands up the Hobgoblin, who's next to the secret weapon, but it's going to be a 2-die block against Helmet. Only going to get a push. Helmet with the stand firm skill will stay exactly where he is. Trying to pick up the ball with the Bull Centaur. This time works out. That's a 50-50 pickup with the Bull Centaur. Failed it the first time, succeeded the second time. He's got lots of movement. And now he's got a very strong player that a Reptile Dysfunkshun will have to try to get the ball out of the hands of. 2 GFIs, failed the second one, but has sure feet. That means he gets a re-roll a GFI. He has sprint as well, which means he can move 3 GFIs instead of 2. A Reptile Dysfunkshun now with the teams scattered is going to have a real tough time trying to get at this ball carrier. He can do it. Oh no, the chainsaw's going to kick back on Helmet, and he KO'd himself. Oh no! 2 lost turns in a row for a Reptile Dysfunkshun. Chainsaw fails on a 1. 4-man player advantage for knee-high to Nuffle now. 2-die block. Now it's nothing but cleanup. Gets a push, but plenty of blocks coming back for Dalton here. Here's another one. Gets another push. He'll get yet another one from number 6. Two-die block. Didn't need Dauntless, but works out anyway. This will finally knock down number 7. He's going to set up for the surf. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. There's that chainsaw kicking back onto Helmet. KO'd himself. Two-die block's going to be a POW on number 6. Not a whole lot that a Reptile Dysfunkshun is going to be able to do on turn 7. I imagine Knee-High Nuffle is going to stall until turn 8. A Reptile Dysfunkshun is going to be down, as it stands, they'll be down at least 1 player going into the second half. Even though Reptile Dysfunkshun couldn't secure this ball, they're still okay with this. This was not their turn to score, or not their half to score. So if Knee-High Nuffle scores, okay, all right. As such, he might want to start thinking about trying to protect his players. How you do that with such low AV play or AG players? That's a question. That's a question that needs to be answered. But he could certainly take the block here. That would make sure that Krista is only going to take a blitz next turn. Takes the 2-die blitz against number 9. Gets an injury. Well done on Gesundheit. And Gesundheit's going to miss next game. Another broken jaw. Will the Apothecary be spent? No. 2-man player advantage now for Knee-High Nuffle. Well done by Reptile Dysfunkshun. Oh, this was a stand-up. He couldn't take the block with Krista. That's unfortunate. Moves the blitzer over 2 spaces. Retro Ian says revenge. Good hit. Under a minute to go in turn 7. Lots of prone players. Yeah, so hard. Failed that dodge with the skink. Wait, was that against a Hobgoblin? Oh, that's unfortunate. Turn 8 now for Knee-High Nuffle. They have 1 TRR left. They might take some hits. Or... yeah, they're going to take hits. Man, I always get nervous at this point in a game. Could score at any time. He's going to take the hits first while he has a TRR. 2-die block against Krista. Gets a push. Still has a blitz. This time we'll knock down Krista. Trying to get that player advantage back up to 3. It's not going to happen. Now here's the score. 1-0 Knee-High Nuffle. Scores at the end of the first half. Well done. What a good half that was. A Reptile Dysfunkshun has an opportunity here to be in pretty good shape going into the second half. They're going to get that running skink with sure feet. They hopefully will get back their knockouts as well. We'll see. Does not get back the knockout. So it's going to be a two-man player advantage for Knee-High and Nuffle going into the second half. Helmet, three-man player advantage for Knee-High and Nuffle going into the second half. The bribe was spent, so the secret weapon has to come off the pitch. Oh, wait, the secret weapon was knocked out. He was already off the pitch. Oh, that's not the end of the half. Wow, there's one turn left. A riot could tie it. And he's going to get another roll for the KO. I think if there's a riot, he's not going to chance it with Duncan, because whoever he sends down to score is just going to get brutalized. The SB Beaver's looking for rocks. 9v10 on the pitch, I believe. 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow, is that a one-man player advantage? One-man player advantage. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, that's right. A Reptile Dysfunkshun had 2 additional players. A Reptile Dysfunkshun has no rerolls left. He'll probably try to block down this line if it's not a riot. And then maybe pass for some SPP. Who does he want to put SPP on, though? Oh, is he going to receive with Duncan? I think that's a good call. Receive with Duncan. Duncan will then pass if there's a riot. Cheering fans. Going to get an extra TRR. Oh, what a kick. What a kick. Knee-High doesn't even have a kicker. What is going on? Who are they paying off? Nothing to do but take some blocks. Maybe make a pass. Spends the TRR. Why not? Leave to Ross praise to Nuffle. 2-die block with the big guy. Pickles versus Asterion. It's a push. Why the follow-up? I don't know if the follow-up does much here. 2-die block. Really looking to take some players out of this game. There's one more block and a blitz left. Gets the PAL. Is he going to chance a foul? I can't imagine he will. Meatwad is injured, so he's gone. The sneaky git is gone. Pick up the ball and pass it. Pull somebody back for the pass first, and then you can move Duncan over to pick up the ball and then pass it. I think that's the play. Oh, took the blitz on the Minotaur. I didn't even realize the Minotaur was still standing. Gets a stun, that's not going to do anything. Oh, he is going to foul. Wow! Got sent off on the foul. Wow! What a risky foul. Didn't work out in this case. Reptile Dysfunkshun will be down 2 players going into the second half. Well, they're down 4 players, but there'll be a 2-man player advantage to the Knee-High and Nuffle. Retro Ian says that's my kind of luck. Fouls, I would say a foul's fairly risky if you don't have a bribe. I'm surprised he fouled there, honestly. Leave it to Ralph says, let's go weather. We could have sweltering heat. Heat MVP. He had enough of changing it up a bit here on defense. 3-man defensive line. Lots of players mid. 2 defensive backs. Well, he's got the number 6 caster blocker over in the right wide zone at the moment. All right, so he's giving up the left wide zone. We'll see if that's intentional or not. Reptile Dysfunkshun now to set up their offense. Is he going to set up the Crocs on the line? At this point, maybe? Has to be careful of being encircled, entrapped by this team. You can see there's lots of strength right here in the linebacker positions. 2 Bull Centaurs and a Minotaur. We've seen Clavius time and again leverage that to pull players out of the drive. But if a Reptile Dysfunkshun can get a solid cage, a solid Saurus cage going, why not? Saurus cage with a skink in reserve, all the better. Here's the kick. It's a pitch invasion. Oh no. Let's see. Just one player stunned, and it's going to be Briar Rose in the right wide zone. Shallow kick. A Reptile Dysfunkshun now has an opportunity to try to tie this game up here in the Chaos Cup Championship. Two-die block at the line. This will work. 2 more blocks to take at the line. Another stun. Well done. We'll see if a Reptile Dysfunkshun can press that advantage. 2-die block. Gets a clean hit here. Final block. This with the big guy. Gets a push. Three free Sauruses. 2 skinks. What's the play? He's got half a cage at center pitch, either to the left or to the right. He's going to blitz Dobby in the backfield. This will work. Another stun. That's 3 stuns. Wow. Still has some move. Well, no, he does not. he's got GFIs left with the blitzer. Sends 1 Saurus back. He's going to end up filling out the cage in the left side of the pitch here. Picks up the ball first. Interestingly enough, didn't move the Saurus over. He's going to fill out the cage. Oh, he is going to move the Saurus over. All right. Yeah, so he's got this cage. It's 4 Saurus cage. He's got the skink in reserve. This is not bad at all, especially with these stuns. He's a little back on the pitch for my comfort. If he had this set up, say, here, now he's a real threat. That skink can just zoom on by and score. But we'll see if he can march this cage down the pitch. Oblivious stands up. He's going to try to hold the line. Retro Ian said a stunning turn of events. Failed the wild animal roll. That's a 4+ because he's not blitzing. Minotaur's going to stay put. Bull Centaur on the right is going to mark Krieger, the number 5 Saurus. Might be trying for a blitz on that Saurus. We'll see. He had Nuffles trying to find a way to mitigate the gaps. No, he's going to take the blitz on the front left corner of the cage instead. 2-die blitz. Both standing result unless he spends the TRR. Sends Bashful one space back in the left wide zone. Still has a movement with Cantankerous if he wants over on the right side of the cage. Nope, he's considering Bashful's movements still. 15 seconds left in turn 9. That'll be it. Turn 10. A Reptile Dysfunkshun. He could very easily blitz the Bull Centaur if he wants. And he's going to blitz the Hobgoblin instead. Gets a push. He'll have to take that. Well, he doesn't have to. He could spend the TRR, but that would not be worth it. Indeed, he takes it. Where's he going to push this Hobgoblin? He's going to push him behind the Bull Centaur. So now he doesn't have an opportunity to get the assist against the Bull Centaur unless he dedicates a player to it. He might actually be fine with this tie-up, honestly. If he can keep this Bull Centaur out of this drive, he's got the speed. Oh, he's going to take the block anyway. He moves the Crocs over to take the block. Takes the POW, or gets a POW. Oh, man, that makes me nervous. I thought that Bull Centaur was toast right here. But fair enough, got the knockdown. 2-die block on Krieger now, gets a push. Doesn't follow up. Wants to free up this Bull Centaur. He says, this one's in danger of being locked down. I need the mobility. Yeah, using that movement of these Chaos Dwarves just sprints him down pitch. They only have an MA of 4. He wants to keep these players in the drive as long as possible, so he's got to get ahead of the ball. He's going to get an assist against the Crocs, or at least a tie. I'm sorry, against Pickles the Saurus. Gets a POW out of it. Wow. He's looking for a 10 plus. Doesn't get it. Marks the ball carrier with the Bull Centaur. By taking that block and pushing that Bull Centaur over here, not only was the Bull Centaur able to take that blitz, but he gets a free movement out of it. The Bull Centaur has a low AG of 2, which means if he's over here, the only movement he's really getting is that free movement on a block. So that just keeps him one space away. The dutiful Bashful is going to play some defense here in the left wide zone. Failed Wild Animal again. Trying to get that Minotaur into position, but really nothing to do with him, so he's got a 50-50 on the Wild Animal roll. Reptile Dysfunkshun on turn 11. They can very easily set up a half cage here on the left sideline. They have to be careful of it stalling out. So he'll want to get as much movement out of it as possible. Yeah, he'll go for the blitz first with Krista. Gets the push. I think he's okay with that. And then just needs to figure out how far Krista... Oh, he follows up. Whoa! Well, well, well. Takes a 2-die block with pick. Oh man, this is scary. Moves that bull centaur closer to where this ball carrier is likely to end up being. Moves the Saurus down center pitch. Marks the number 7 Chaosdwarf blocker. Fair mark. But now what? What do you do? Oh, he is just gonna barrel the skink down pitch. Oh, 2 GFIs. That's 10 movement. Oh boy. Oh boy. Is Fritz gonna follow? Is Friltz gonna follow? Nick Satan deciding to tie up as many Chaos Dwarf players as possible. This means he's going to have to score on turn 12. That's going to give, if he succeeds, it's going to give Knee-High to Nuffle 5 turns to try to win this ball game. Reptile Dysfunkshun resetting to try to get between Knee-High to Nuffle and the ball. Nick Satan taking a play out of Clypheus's playbook. Turn 11. Two-die block gets a push with the number 1 Bull Centaur. I would be surprised if he doesn't take the 1-die block with Dobby. Dobby has Wrestle. That means he's going to take it with the Bull Centaur. Dobby had Wrestle, which means if he gets a both down result, they can both go down. There's no armor roll, but the drive wouldn't end. That would free up the Bull Centaur to start gliding down pitch. Could the Bull Centaur have even made a block? Let's see. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope. Could have applied the pressure only. 2-die block back at center pitch gets double pals. He's going to try again at some point to get this Minotaur into this drive. Might take a dodge with a... I mean, these dwarves all have thick skulls, so failing the dodge is not all that risky, but he'll probably save that for last if that's what he's going to try to do. So we'll probably see him move... Nope, he's going to try it first. Spend the TRR is going to make this a 75% chance on the dodge. Is this a blitz? It's got to be. Only gets a push after the reroll. Duncan of Idaho is going to move one space closer to the end zone. But now Duncan of Idaho is marked by a player with tackle, so his dodge skill will not come into play. That'll be it. It's going to be turn 12 coming up for Reptile Dysfunkshun. Really, I think their only choice. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, they could do a double GFI blitz. That's what he's going to do. 1. Here's 2. Got it. Well done. Gets the POW. That's going to free up the ball carrier to score. Gets a great stun. Ooh, does he think he can stall now? I doubt it. I doubt it. He's just going to score. 1-1. Well done by a Reptile Dysfunkshun to tie this ball game up. Oh, but now it's the age-old Blood Bowl problem. You're giving your opponent 5 turns to try to win the game. Can you stop them? You're going to be down players. Two-man player advantage for Knee-Hide and Nuffle now. They're going to get 1 full quarter and some change to try to win this tournament. SP Beaver says, shallow kick and hope for the blitz. I don't know if he wants to relegate his victory to Nuffle, but what do I know? Especially when your opponent has a lot more speed than you do. Oh, I'm sorry. No, they don't. The Lizardman team has a lot more speed than the Chaos Dwarf team does. Actually, you know what? You know what? You know what? I take that all back. I apologize. You know what? That might not be a bad idea. The problem is you don't have a kicker. And so chances are you'd just be giving up a touchback. I don't know. That might be okay. That might be the right call. Knee-Hide and Nuffle going with the unconventional offense here. 4 wide to the left, 4 wide to the right in an L shape. SP Beaver says, this is why I didn't make the finals. This setup just confuses me. Yeah, this is this is some Tetris, man. All right. We'll see. I have no idea what this is about. But I'm also not in the championship game, so. Perfect defense. A Reptile Dysfunkshun can reset their defense. They are going to appreciate this a whole lot. It is a somewhat shallow kick as well. Oh, man. Oh, man. Puts a Saurus right at center pitch. Pancakes. Sauruses are not slow. They have the MA of 6. We see Duncan of Idaho, the runner, along with Friltz, the number 12 skink, lining up in an eye right at center pitch. Turn 12. Final turn of the third quarter. Knee-Hide and Nuffle. They're going to try to take some blocks. "30 seconds have passed by. Clypheus, contemplative. What do? What's the first action? You have 2 team rerolls left for the game. 2-die block on the left side of the line gets a push. 2-die block with Dauntless works out. Good hit on the number 5 Saurus, Krieger. Doesn't follow up, keeps the line intact. SP Beaver says better save those TRRs for the kickoff after OT. Maybe. 2-die block with the number 2 Bull Centaur on the right side of this split offensive formation. Good block. Pulls a dwarf with mighty blow. Bashful into that gap at center pitch. 45 seconds left in the quarter. Takes the block with the Minotaur. This time +2 on the wild animal. Wild animal only fails on a 1 if you're taking a block or a blitz. Otherwise, it's a +4. Got the both down result. He spent the TRR, but again, there's that loner skill, or negative skill, I should say. Failed both down result. That's going to end the drive. The ball is loose. Turn 13. Fourth quarter begins. A Reptile Dysfunkshin has an opportunity. What are they going to do? Are they going to blitz number 3? I think they are. Moves Krista into possession on the ball. Marks the number 1 Bull Centaur. This is what we were talking about in the pregame. Taking these Bull Centaurs out of the drive by marking them, by making sure they don't get their blocks, or if they do, they don't get their movement. Here's that blitz. Blitz on Bashful. He's going to have to spend the TRR here. Gets a push out of it. That'll be enough. But where do you want to push him? He's going to push him to the right. Down to just 1 TRR. Plenty of movement left for Pancakes. But he didn't get the knockdown on Bashful, so he's decided to mark instead. But now he has, oh man. That hole has been protected. There's nowhere to go for these skinks. Has to be careful of these Chaos Dwarves. They all have tackle that's going to negate the dodge skill. Runs around the right end of the line instead. He's not going to get out on this ball. Not on this turn. Two GFIs worked out with sure feet. Ninja Gloppy says, if you drop a steak on the ground, does that make it ground beef? Boo. Welcome to the game. The Wrestle Hobgoblin now in turn 13 moves to get a tackle zone on the ball. Knee high to Nuffle, running out of time here. They are not a particularly fast team. Their 2 fastest players currently marked. 2-die blitz on the number 13 Skink. It's going to get the knockdown. Duncan of Idaho is going to stay on the pitch. Three tackle zones on the ball now. Blitz has been spent. Saurus is not going to get blitzed down. We'll take the blocks on the line here. Remember, this Chaos Dwarf blocker, Briar Rose, has Dauntless. But now with 1 TRR left for the game, and a very real threat of this game going to overtime, both these coaches might start to change their action order, change their tactics, and try to conserve that TRR for when they really need it. Clypheus getting these Chaos Dwarves into position while he can. They only have an MA of 4. He's been doing that very effectively all game. Still has the blocks to take on the line. Might take the block with number 2 here. It's a 1-die block, but it is skilled, so it's in his favor. But he might favor the tie-up. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's not even going to risk it over here. You know what? I think that's prudent play. He's going to eat a 2-die block on number 2 now, but I think that's very prudent. 2-die block on the number 7 Chaos Dwarf blocker. Good hit. Follows up. Excellent stun on Cantankerous. He'll be out for a turn. 2-die block on Bashful as well. Risky block if he plans to stand up the Skink. It works out. Oh man, what if Duncan of Idaho just slipped past these two hobgoblins? He is stunty. Oh man, is that what he's failed to pick up? It's not a very good pickup. He spent the TRR. That's his last TRR, and he fumbled the ball into the hands of Knee High to Nuffle. That was a 5+ pickup, spent the final TRR, and now Knee High does not have to pick this ball up. And poor Duncan of Idaho is going to eat a 3-die block, but it's only a push. Spends the final TRR. It's still a push. Oh, no, it's not because of tackle. Hwah! No TRRs left. And Duncan is injured. The apothecary has been spent. He has a fractured leg. He is out of this championship game. He'll be out for the next game in the season as well. Ninja Gloppy says, those who fumble must be humble. I think that's a good saying. The Hobgoblin is going to cruise down the left sideline now. Oh, man, that was a risky pickup attempt. And now, Reptile Dysfunkshun needs to think about freeing up some players. Got a both down results, and a skink has been KO'd. Both down works out due to the block skill. Wow, look at this injury box right now. 5 injuries and casualties, 1 KO. And yet the game is still tied. SP Beaver says it's going off the pitch, considered freed up. I guess in a matter of speaking. 2-die block. Back at center pitch against Pancakes. Frenzy follow-up here. 2-die block. Gets a pow. I think that's our first time we've seen Frenzy. He's going to take this Bull Centaur block, I have to imagine. Maybe not. Yeah, he'll take it. 1-die block. Both down. Works out due to the block skill. Now he'll get a 2-die block. Probably. Yeah. Against Delton. Only gets a push this time. Oh, no. How unfortunate for a Reptile Dysfunkshun. Turn 15. 2 turns left in regulation play. He's going to free up a Saurus here with this block. No TRRs left for either team. Number 4 now has to move. He has no team rerolls left. Number 4 has to move. Number 4 is going to blitz. Is this a GFI blitz? Oh my goodness! That'll work. Where's the ball gonna go? Oh my goodness. It's gonna scatter right in front of that Saurus. 2-die block. Back at the line. Gets a pal. He'll follow up. Gets an injury on Briar Rose. Well done. Oh my goodness. Both these teams frighten me. Wow! This bruised and battered Lizardman team holding their own here in this championship match. And a stun on Jubilant. He will be out for the rest of regulation effectively. Turn 15 for Knee High to Nuffle. They need to end this turn in scoring position if they want to win in regulation. Otherwise, they're playing for overtime. Unless Nick Satan can pull some magic out of his hat. He could conceivably score with Krista. No team rerolls for either of these coaches. Action order critical. The winner of this match will be invited to the championship, the Blood Bowl, in the upper bracket. One minute to play in turn 15. No action by Knee-Hide and Nuffle. They have to consider their action order. Taking a risky action and failing will end the turn. They mark Krista. They know Krista is the only one who can score. Will they take the block on the blitz on Krista? They will. They're going to try to take Krista down. It's going to work out. Well done. Krista's going to stay on the pitch. 1, 2, 3. 2 GFIs to score. He can still do it. Two-die block with the Minotaur. He's going to get double skulls. That's going to be it. Turn 16. For a Reptile Dysfunkshun. If they want to score, they need to stand up Krista and then dodge and 2 GFIs. I don't know if you want to take the risk if you're going to play to overtime. He could take a stand up. No, he can't blitz either. He can't blitz with Krista if he wants to score. Oh, so smart. So smart. Gets a pal. He's going to try to win this game. It's a long shot, but he can do it. Krista needs to stand up for 2 GFIs. Wow. Takes the block instead, gets double skulls. Turn 16 back to Clypheus and Knee-Hide and Nuffle. He's not going to be able to score. We're going to overtime. He's going to look to take some players off the pitch. Overtime is another 8 turns. It's as if a new game is starting, except no injuries come back onto the pitch. It'll be a new coin toss. And then it'll be sudden death. The first team to score will win the game. Blitz on pancakes. Double skulls! Wow! Overtime. Here we go. Who's going to win the coin toss? Whoever wins is almost certainly going to be on offense. 2 dead and injured for Knee-Hide and Nuffle. A whole lot for a Reptile Dysfunkshun. They get back a Saurus, thankfully, from the knockout box. I think it's going to put them at a 2-man player disadvantage. Knee-High to Nuffle on defense. A Reptile Dysfunkshun must have won the coin toss. SP Beaver says these last 2 games have been really great. Yes, they have. It's 6v9 on the pitch. Can you believe this? 3-man player advantage for Knee-Hide and Nuffle now. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. There are no skinks left for a Reptile Dysfunkshun. I think that means Knee-Hide and Nuffle just has to kick dead center. I don't think they have a choice. They don't have a kicker. They can't afford a touchback. I think this means a Reptile Dysfunkshun. Oh no. Oh no. I think this means a 3-man line, 3 Sauruses deep or mid, and they're just going to have to grind. Every single one of the players for a Reptile Dysfunkshun has an AG of just 1. If Nick Satan can pull out a victory here, then he will be proving just why he is the league champion. Not that he needs proving that. He proved that last season. But man, this is such an uphill battle now. It is grim. He has to put 3 players on the line. That gives him 3 other players to do something with. Just 1 back to receive. Here's the kick. Shallow kick. A Reptile Dysfunkshun gets a TRR. Oh, wow. risked the shallow kick. Risked the shallow kick. It happened to work out. Blitz with the Saurus. 2-die Blitz gets a push. And now Reptile Dysfunkshun has that team reroll. He has it to spend, and just in case overtime goes to penalty kicks, he's going to have the +1 on that as well, provided he retains that TRR. 2-die block back of the line. That's not going to work. Both down result. Both down result, but the blocker has the block skill, so he'll remain standing. Now it's a turnover. Knee-high to Nuffle. Turn 17. They have no rerolls. They get a pal, number 4, David Attenborough. Oh no, and he's stunned. Great stun. Great stun. That is one of very few players who will be potentially out of the drive. Really has to consider his action order here. Marks the ball. He says, you want to pick up that ball? You need a 6, sir. Let's go. Blitz with the Minotaur. 2-die Blitz with horns. Gets a knockdown on Pancakes. Took the risky kick. Worked out. Now you can see that patented Clypheus play. He's pulling Delton out of position now too. He's going to try to keep him out of the drive. Yeah, well done. Well done to split off this team. He'll eventually get the assist on Krieger as well. Two-die block gets a push on Delton. Oh wow! Interestingly, he pushed him back here. He wanted to keep him captured, which is fine. Moves Oblivious down pitch with his meager MA of 4. Here's that assist coming up on Krieger. 2-die block, skilled block. That'll work. Well done. Clypheus now pulling the rest of this team out of position. As few as they are. Turn 18 for Reptile Dysfunkshun. One player is still in the drive. What do? You need the eye of the tiger. Krista with the eye of the reptile. Krista's just going to take a block. Gets a push. Says, if you want the ball, come get it. Oh, Pancakes can't be stood up. I mean, maybe. I guess. Stands up the Crocs, gets a pow on the Bull Centaur. Boulder Dash back at center pitch. Boulder Dash is the injured Bull Centaur. Did he take a bite out of her butt? Is that what just happened? Still has some movement with the Crocs. Moves the Crocs over. Moves the Crocs over to mark the number 4 cast-off blocker, Jubilant. 1-die block. Wow, and Dobby gets a push. He'll follow up to try to get this Saurus out of this predicament. Well done. What do you do? What do you do with Pancakes? Do you try to dodge? I mean, it's not going to work, but do you try it? I don't know. $50 seconds left in the turn for knee-high to Nuffle. I'm sorry, for a Reptile Dysfunkshun. Thinking what he wants to do with Pancakes. That's a tough call. Pancakes can stay safe on the ground, but then isn't contributing anything. But they're not contributing anything right now. So if you try to take the dodge, then and they fall, they're still not contributing, but at least you tried. But then where are you going to dodge to? Do you dodge back here? Do you dodge on the ball and risk it scattering somewhere you don't like? It's going to stand her up. Tried the dodge. Onto the ball. Not going to spend the TRR here. Oh no. 9+ got KO'd anyway. Ball scattered into the hand. He's going to spend the TRR. Didn't pick it up. The ball's on the sideline. Oh no. Tried to dodge on the ball and got knocked out. It was a 10+ to break armor, and it happened. Turn 18 to knee high to Nuffle. Just 5 players left on the pitch for a Reptile Dysfunkshun. They are trying so hard to try to win this game. Knee high to Nuffle with no TRRs left, but plenty of players to take control of the pitch exactly the way that Clypeus likes to play. Another player taken off the pitch. This time Krista is injured. Just 4 players left on the pitch for a Reptile Dysfunkshun. Knee high just needs to keep them locked down and pulled off the ball. TD Esperanto says pancake got pancaked. That is unfortunate for a Reptile Dysfunkshun. 2-die block on number 7. This is going to be a push. TD Esperanto says, wow, just 4 left. Yeah, just 4. Well, there's always hope. There's always hope for a Reptile Dysfunkshun. It is looking grim, but there's always hope. In fact, Knee High here could even change up their strategy. They could be like, you know what? I can take this ball, I can run down the pitch, and then I can murder you for 6 turns, just in case I see you again in the next competition. 2-die block on Pickles, the Crocs. She's gonna get knocked down. Failed the sure hands pickup. Thankfully, the ball did not scatter off the pitch. Turn 19 for Reptile Dysfunkshun. Stands up the Crocs. Has to stand up David Attenborough as well. No rerolls left. SB Beaver says, might as well start fouling. Really? I don't know. I mean, maybe. 1-die blitz on the Minotaur. This is going to work. This will free up Delton. And KOs the Minotaur. Wow! Mighty blow at work. Well done. SB Beaver says, if all of his players get KO'd, can he still participate in the kickoff? He can. He just needs to put as many as he can on the line of scrimmage. You are technically allowed to concede after that, but not in this league. Turn 19 and knee high to Nuffle. There's that blitz on the Minotaur to take out the big guy. Blitz almost certainly coming up on Delton by Blasphemy, the #1 Bull Centaur. Indeed, here it is. 2-die block gets a pow. Well done. At least he didn't get surfed. He had enough of condensing, collapsing on this ball. Hobgoblin with sure hands can try to pick this ball up again. Sure hands is a free reroll. Sends a Chaos Dwarf blocker Oblivious down pitch. He's going to try to set up a half cage. Failed the ball pickup. Where's the ball? What is happening? Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is a second failed sure hands pickup. And the ball got thrown back in on knee-high's 12-yard line. Could we see a blitz with Krieger? Could we see a blitz with David Attenborough? Could we see a blitz with the Crocs? Here we go. Two-die Black gets the pal with the Croc. Leave it to Rouse says nothing is ever sure. Gets a tackle zone on the ball carrier. Sure hands should be called. And maybe hands. Two-die block with number 5. This will work out as well. And the two-die block with David Attenborough, I suppose. Gets a push. He'll have to follow up. SB Beaver said should have picked it up with the Crocs. He has just as much opportunity, yeah, to pick it up with the Crocs than he does with the Saurus. I don't know if I'd want it in the hands of the Crocs with Boneheaded, though. Turn 20, back to knee-high to Nuffle. Teeny Esperanto, praise to Nuffle. Hoping knee-high can get back on this ball. Boulder Dash stands up, marks, pickles the Croxagore. Retro Ian wants a Crocs score. That would be pretty amazing. Yeah, and the problem with Knee High is he doesn't have a whole lot of fast players. He's got to get him back into the drive. He pulls Robin Roundcap back into the drive. That's the Hobgoblin with sure hands. That's the Hobgoblin with meh hands. Here's the blitz on the Crocs. Two-die blitz gets a pow. Well done. Crocs is going to stay alive. Do you GFI on the ball? Probably not. Oh, he did! Oh, and it worked out! Well done! Failed the GFI. Sure feet was the free reroll. Succeeded. The 50-50 pickup worked. And now he's got the ball in the hands of one of his strongest and absolute fastest players, Blasphemy. Blasphemy does have a damaged back. If somehow a Reptile Dysfunction can get the block on Blasphemy, they can hope for a casualty. Two-die block on David Attenborough. Gets a knockdown. Turn 21 to a Reptile Dysfunction. 4 turns left in the Chaos Cup. Leave it to Rouse, praying to Nuffle. Two-die stand-up blitz. Gets a knockdown on Boulder Dash. Won't follow up. Will he follow up? Oh, gosh. Yeah, won't follow up. Gets a stun. That's a great stun. He's going to move forward and mark Boulder Dash. Do you go here, maybe? Or do you kick out and go here? I'm not sure. I'm not sure where you move. He's got plenty of options. Nope, he's going to go right in the corner. Fair enough. The Hobgoblin's going to be able to come in on the assist, but the Crocs has a strength of 5. So it'll be a one-die skilled block unless he can get somebody else back in, unless Knee-High can get somebody back in to assist. Two-die block. Oh no, it's not going to work. Both down result. Chaos Dwarf Blocker's going to stay standing. Turn 21 to Knee-High to Nuffle. They take a block. They're going to knock down David Attenborough. Stay down, he says. Here's the assist to get this two-die blitz off on Pickles. Here we go. Two-die blitz with Blasphemy. That'll work. He'll follow up. He'll get a free space of movement here. Oh, he didn't follow up. Interesting. Is he going to move to the right? He's going to, or, yeah, well, he's going to move dead center. Dead center, commanding this pitch. He says, come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. He's going to try a faux cage here. He'll get 2 players back to protect the ball carrier. There's one. He can move Oblivious around here, perhaps, or maybe just put him on the corner. He could bring him in for the assist on the Saurus, but that Saurus has the block skill, so it's a little risky. Be a 1-die block. Teeny Esperanto says, "Be aggressive, be aggressive." It's gonna move Oblivious over to the left corner. Turn 22. 3 turns left in the Chaos Cup. Can a Reptile Dysfunkshun get in front of this ball carrier? They can take the 2-die blitz with number 7, Delton. That might be the best play. I'm not sure. 2-die blitz with Delton to get him back in front of the ball. No, he's going to take the blitz with the Crocs. 2-die blitz with the Crocs on Dobby. Clean hit. He won't follow up. Now he'll move the Crocs. GFI. Failed the G. You never GFI. You never GFI. And now the Bull Centaur is going to gallivant down pitch. Here he goes. GFI number 1. Oh, is he not going to risk it? He is. All right. Failed it with sure feet. I think he's done. Wow. TD Esperanto says, we do like the gallivanting. Go, go. He's in scoring position. A Reptile Dysfunkshun. I hope he prayed to Nuffle if he wants to try to stop this score. Knee-high looking, just trying to decide how and where to take the blocks. He might be able to get both blocks here. Yeah, it looks like he's going to do that. TD Esperanto praying to Nuffle. TD Esperanto says, I do not think this game knows what sure means. Maybe it's sarcastic. It's like, sure, feet. Gets the assist on number 4. I don't think he's going to take these blocks, actually. I think what he wants to do is force this dodge to be a 6. Although it's a skilled block, I'd take it. Yeah, he's going to take it. He's going to take it and it works out. Well done. Going to take the 1-die block over on the left side too. Gets the knockdown. I think that's it. I don't think a Reptile Dysfunkshun can do anything at this point. Let's see. Technically, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, they could try. They could try. David Attenborough can do a dodge here. He can try. He has a blitz to take. David Attenborough can go for the 1-die blitz on the Hobgoblin. Yeah. Oh, and it's not going to work. Unfortunately, that's going to be the game. And knee-high to Nuffle is the new Chaos Cup champion. Congratulations to Clypheus. Well done. Well played. Well played game. Well played competition. There it is. The final score, 2-1. Knee-high to Nuffle. Champions of Season 2 in the Chaos Cup. Congratulations. Well fought. Well earned. Congrats. The knee-high cheerleaders. Beautiful as always. What a game. What a final game for this competition. 2-1 the final. Bashful the MVP. David Attenborough the MVP. I would have to agree with that. Not a lot of ball possession here. Just 39% for Knee-High and Nuffle, 13% for Reptile Dysfunkshun. And despite that, they held out until their dying breath. They were down to 4 players on the pitch in overtime, almost at the end of overtime. If they could have held out just a little bit longer, it would have gone to penalty kicks. SPP for tonight's matchup, 19, 20, 21 SPP for Knee-High to Nuffle, 12 for Reptile Dysfunkshun. This is disgusting. This is just gross. But congratulations nonetheless. Knee-High to Nuffle, the Chaos Cup champions. He will be advancing, Clypheus will be advancing to the Blood Bowl in the upper bracket. A Reptile Dysfunkshun will be advancing in the lower bracket. And that will do it for the first competition of the new season here in the Mid-Atlantic Mauling League. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I had a blast. The next competition will start in a few weeks. We will put a call out for coaches on our Twitter account and on our Facebook account, and you can see the links for those right there on your screen. When we do, feel free to play with us. This league is open for new and veteran coaches alike. The season format is structured in such a way as if you miss the Chaos Cup, don't sweat it. You still have ample opportunity to make it to the championship, to make it to the Blood Bowl. Come out and play with us in the Spike Magazine Trophy. That'll be in a few weeks. That is competition number 2. There's 3 open competitions before the Blood Bowl Invitational. I hope to see you out there. If you know somebody who wants to play, invite them along too. We're a friendly bunch. We are open to new coaches as well as veteran coaches. Come play along. Blood Bowl is a fantastic game. I love it. I hope you do too. You can pick up a copy in tabletop form at your friendly local game store, or you can play right here with us on Steam in Blood Bowl 2. We will see you guys back here in a few weeks for the Spike Magazine Trophy. But until then, congratulations to Clypheus and Knee-High to Nuffle, the Chaos Cup champions. And I hope you guys have a great night. Take care, everybody.